For more than 95% of human history, humans lived in a world defined by survival. There were no cities, no governments, no kings, no written laws, just small bands, wandering forests, plains, deserts, and icy lands, hunting wild animals, gathering roots and fruits, and trying to survive each day. Life was brutal, unpredictable, and often short, yet it was free. And then, almost imperceptibly, everything changed. Humans began to plant seeds. They built permanent homes. Villages appeared where none had existed. Food could be stored. Children could grow without constant fear of starvation. And life seemed, for the first time, secure. History books call this progress, but beneath that progress lies a secret, a choice that would reshape humanity forever. What seemed like safety was also the beginning of a trap, an invisible chain that would bind humans to labor, to the land, and to each other in ways no one could have imagined. The Stone Age secret was not just about planting seeds, it was about power, survival, and control, and it quietly determined the path of every human society that followed. Before we go any further, I need you to do something. Our team has worked tirelessly to bring this story to life, uncovering facts buried for thousands of years. If you want us to continue revealing these hidden truths and bringing history alive on this channel, hit that subscribe button and like this video. Your support motivates us, fuels our work, and helps us uncover even more astonishing stories from our past. Every click counts, and every subscriber helps us grow so we can continue this journey together. The story of humanity's first farmers is not just about agriculture. It is about a choice, one small, seemingly simple choice that would alter everything. Imagine a small group of humans wandering the wild landscapes of ancient Earth, carrying only what they could hold, hunting animals with spears, foraging for edible plants, and following the seasons wherever survival demanded. Life was dangerous, yes, but it was free. Then someone had an idea that would change everything. Plant seeds where you want your food to grow. At first, it seemed harmless. Food grew predictably. Abundance appeared where scarcity had ruled for millennia. Families no longer had to chase every meal across dangerous terrain. Safety, stability, and security emerged. But that safety came with invisible chains. Humans were no longer entirely free. They were tied to the land, tied to the labor, tied to the cycles of planting and harvest. The Stone Age secret had begun, and with it, the seeds of inequality, control, and power that would shape human history. As settlements grew, life changed in ways that no one could have foreseen. Days were no longer dictated by the hunt, but by the rhythm of farming. Planting, weeding, harvesting, and storing food became the daily reality. The work was grueling and relentless, yet most humans accepted it willingly because it promised survival. But with stability came new problems. Disease spread faster in crowded villages. Parasites thrived. Injuries from constant labor accumulated. Food surpluses attracted outsiders, leading to conflict. And those who controlled the land, those who stored the most food, began to gain power. Social hierarchies emerged where none had existed before. In the hunter-gatherer world, everyone contributed roughly equally. But in these early settlements, wealth, power, and influence became concentrated. Life had grown safer, but humans had also entered a world they could never leave. Over generations, knowledge and innovation grew. Early humans learned to shape tools for farming, build irrigation systems, and domesticate animals. These advancements increased productivity, but they also deepened dependence on labor and land. Every new skill reinforced the cycle. The more humans controlled the environment, the more they were bound to it. Those who resisted or failed to adapt often perished or were forced to conform. This was the paradox of the Stone Age secret. The very choice that promised freedom from hunger and danger also planted the invisible chains that would bind humanity for millennia. And just when it seemed that humans had adapted to this new life, a discovery emerged that would accelerate the transformation even further. It would lay the foundation for villages, then towns, then cities, then empires. It would lead to organized religion, writing, armies, and kingdoms. And it would forever cement the Stone Age secret as the invisible force shaping human history. But the most astonishing part of this story, the turning point where everything changes, will only be revealed next. The moment humans discovered how to store and control food, the very fabric of society began to shift. The first villages were modest, but they marked a radical departure from the freedom of wandering. Families settled near rivers, fertile plains, and valleys, tethered to the land that fed them. Life became predictable, but predictability came at a cost. Daily labor intensified. Planting, harvesting, and defending crops required constant attention. Those who controlled the best plots of land controlled more than food. They controlled power, influence, and survival itself. Social hierarchies deepened as certain families amassed wealth, while others toiled endlessly. The equality that defined hunter-gatherer life was gone. Humans had traded freedom for stability, and the consequences would ripple for millennia. As settlements grew, humans learned to manipulate their environment with remarkable ingenuity. They built rudimentary irrigation systems, domesticated animals to help with labor, and experimented with new tools and techniques. Knowledge multiplied with each generation, but so did dependency. Each improvement demanded more effort, more oversight, and more obedience to the rhythms of settled life. Life became structured, controlled, and predictable, yet paradoxically, it was also more vulnerable. Epidemics could wipe out entire communities. Crop failure could mean starvation for hundreds. Conflict with neighboring settlements could escalate into war. And while the physical chains of wandering humans had been removed, invisible chains of labor, obedience, and hierarchy bound every person to the system that had promised safety. It is here that the Stone Age secret becomes astonishing. This was not merely the story of Farmageddon, was the story of how humans first surrendered their independence for security, and how that choice set in motion a chain reaction that would give rise to governments, armies, taxation, and inequality on a scale never seen before. The control of food meant the control of life. Leaders emerged not because they were stronger or wiser, but because they held the resources necessary for survival. Those who lacked food were compelled to obey, to work, and to serve. Humans had not only reshaped the land, they had reshaped themselves, creating a world where authority and power were no longer optional. Before we move further, take a moment to subscribe and like this video. Our team has poured countless hours into researching, scripting, and narrating this story, uncovering details buried for thousands of years. By subscribing, you help us continue bringing these hidden chapters of history to light. Every click, every subscriber, every comment strengthens this channel and motivates us to keep telling the truth about human history, piece by piece. Your support ensures that the next part of this story can be revealed. With each passing generation, settlements grew into villages, villages into towns, and towns into cities. Human societies became increasingly complex, creating laws, traditions, and hierarchies. Labor specialization emerged. Some farmed, others crafted tools, while a select few controlled trade and resources. Communities became interdependent, yet the bonds of freedom loosened. Humans were now prisoners of their own productivity. The Stone Age Sikata. Simple act of planting seeds had expanded into a web of power structures, societal rules, and obligations that humans could never escape. And then came one of the most remarkable, yet terrifying transformations in history. As humans accumulated food and resources, the pressure to defend, control, and expand grew. Walls were built, armies were formed, and disputes escalated into war. The same seed that had offered safety now fueled conflict, inequality, and ambition on a scale that would ultimately lead to kingdoms, empires, and civilizations as we know them. The simplicity of planting seeds had spiraled into a force capable of shaping the entire world. But even more astonishing changes were on the horizon in discoveries and decisions that would cement humanity's path irreversibly. This next revelation would explain why the choice made in the Stone Age still impacts every person alive today, and why the story of early farming is far more consequential than most historians dare to admit.